Boy, this one just breached the limits of possibility. It was Yooka Laylee in the Impossible Lair. And while most of the game is very not just possible, but playable and enjoyable, the end boss is a fucking nightmare. And the irony is that it starts at the beginning. You could take on the end boss from the second that you start the game. And that's pretty cool. But
Calamity Ganon kind of situation.
Can you do that from Breath of the Wild? It's like the first thing is you can take on Ganon?
It's like an hour, yeah.
Yeah, you gotta do the tutorial
not
first.
Not quite.
Yeah, you don't have to do any of that with
fair enough.
the Impossible Lair. But, you know, that whole process of taking it on is lengthy, and the procedure to making it a more feasible battle is to take on each of the game's 20 chapters and earn I forget what they call them, it's like a Protector B. And it's basically it gives you an extra hit that you can take every time that you go into the Impossible Lair. But there's a catch as well. Every chapter has a different phase that you can change the chapter to. And to do so, you have to do various things in the overworld, like moving blocks or changing, weather effects, etc. And it's really a deep experience, both overworld and the 2D levels. This game is inspired not so much by Banjo-Kazooie as the original Yooka Laylee was, but more so by Donkey Kong Country, and they're both Rareware affiliated. So, I mean, it makes sense that, the Platonic team is comprised of, members of Rareware. And I would argue that the Impossible Lair succeeds way more at doing what it sets out to than the original Yooka Laylee did. And in some cases, I argue that it's, not just deeper, but more enjoyable even than, God forbid I say this, but Donkey Kong Country. The soundtrack,
it's great.
Hands down, it's amazing. Grant Kirkhope out Kirkhope himself. So if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
But I love it. I listen to it in the car. I'll listen to it at work if I'm like, just trying to get motivated to do something, And
don't forget, are you lumping in the Returns games in with that too?
No, just the Super Nintendo versions.
Okay, I got you.
And I guess what I really like is just that the game keeps things on its toes. You can also, it's almost infinitely playable because there's 62 tonics that you can unlock and purchase with quills that you get from each of the levels. And they really increase the variety as far as the way that you experience the levels. It could be something like a visual effect, like changing it to like Game Boy resolution or like 4:3 or grayscale. You can like make the screen go upside down. You can make it go backwards. You can break your controller, not literally, but you can make it a broken controller tonic so that X plays as circle and left is right. And each of these change the number of quills that you get out of each level. If it's a more challenging tonic, then it gives you more quills. If you do something like the roll faster or like the extra twirl when you're in the air and you want like a little more hover, that takes down the quills. So it's really interesting to see the tonics that you equip and really just experience the game. I just want to keep playing. Like I don't even want to take on the end boss right now. I just want to keep playing the levels over and just enjoy them because the whole experience is just pleasant.
No, I've played about half of this game because, obviously I'm going to, but the thing that really like stood out to me was like you said, each chapter has like essentially 2 levels in one, and I thought that was really unique because was it like the first chapter you play through it once, it's a standard level, and then you go in the overworld, which the overworld itself is like almost like its own game, and then you flip the switch to have the water run over the book, and it like creates a water level like out of that exact same level, and it's like it's crazy. I was like, oh my god! I was like, they've essentially made a level that can play as 2 separate levels. And it doesn't feel like I'm like retreading the same ground.
They're doing what the original Yooka Laylee did, where you could like increase the book size or whatever, but in just a more engaging way.
Yeah. See, as we said in the Yooka Laylee map out, like that whole like expanding the world of the first Yooka Laylee just didn't work. It was dumb. It just kind of blocked off certain elements.
The game is a super nostalgia trip as well. Like at the second level is called Factory Fright. And that's like the factory stages in Country. And there's just a whole bunch of really cool segments. They play with things like enemy movements. Like there's clone enemies that will imitate your jumps. So every time you press jump, they'll jump as well. There's other ones that have like jaws, so you can't just roll through them. You have to jump on top of them. And it plays with it in really cool ways. Every level houses 5 twit coins that you give to Trouser, the dick snake. That's Alex's words. Yeah. But it's cool because, like country, you get the KONG letters. So it gives you something to look forward to every time you go back to a level. You really want to unlock all of them. You get, bonuses every time you get a certain number of coins. And the game's really liberal if you're playing it on, like, the PS4 with achievements or trophies, rather. Every 2 Bs, you get a trophy. So you kind of have this incentive to keep going and try and collect everything, whether it's tonics, twit coins, or Bs.
I'd be interested to see the percentages then. Because that always, like... sometimes it's like sad to see it. Sometimes it's good, like Resident Evil 2 remakes, just to bring that up again. I remember their achievement percentage was like really high, and I was like, oh great, that means people are like actually beating the game. So I'd like
6.7 for a platinum.
Okay.
So well, it's actually pretty decent.
I'd like to see like a graph of like of each one. You know what I mean? Just like just anything that's like chapter based. If they give you one per chapter, it's always nice to see. But that seems like it's even more like broken down, so be like, oh, I wonder how many people stopped when they hit like a really hard level or something. It'd just be nice to see. I'm not gonna do it, but it'd be nice to see someone like Game Maker's Toolkit like break that down. But,
interesting.
Yeah.
Would you say you're compelled to play it?
Yeah.
I don't know if you have.
It sounds fun. I played Tropical Freeze very recently. So I think like I'd probably like wait a minute.
Yeah,
it's like
it's similar, I'd say.
Yeah. So I feel like it's one of those. It's like I'll keep in mind, like in the back of my head, or like put it in my, like I just keep everything that I play and watch in my like IMDb, because it's just easy to be like, oh shit, yeah, what did I play? Oh yeah, I totally watched this thing that I forgot about. But I also have like a list that's just like eventually that every once in a while I'll go through and be like, oh yeah, here's this like really cool shit that I heard about that I was like looking forward to. So I think it's already in there, and if it's not, like, I probably will add it. Because it seems interesting. It has, like, you said kind of like a novelty, a level kind of setup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so even with, like, the phase changes, like, say you had a water level, maybe it freezes over, or maybe you had a windmill level, maybe there's wind blowing, and then maybe there's not in the next one.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I didn't understand when you were saying that at first, but yeah, that's kind of like that level in Banjo-Kazooie 1. Whichever. Like with a big tree.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Well, yeah, so like each chapter is basically 2 levels. The first one's like the standard level, and then the second one, they'll add like a different effect to the level. So it'll freeze over, it'll flood, like saws will be coming through something, and it'll essentially make it like a brand new level, even though they're reusing the same art assets.
The Click-Clack Woods.
Yeah.
They probably were thinking to themselves when they made that in Banjo-Kazooie, like, oh, how can we bring that back? Like, they did it in Tooie as well with the Freeze Easy. Is that what it's? Not Freeze Easy.
That's first
it's
one.
The Twin Fire. I don't know.
The Fire Ice place.
Right.
I need to finish Tooie.
Oh, I love Tooie. That's one of my favorites.
It's sitting right on the other side of that wall right there. It's just sitting, burning a hole. I just have to get the motivation to get my CRT back out.
Oh, man, I could talk about Tooie, but I don't want to go on. So.
I don't know if this is actually possible now that I'm playing it again after I've beaten it.
A real gamer could beat it first try.
Oh my gosh. I've lost like 18...
Are you saying that's the Dark Souls of platformers?
Yes. That's an apt comparison.